Summit 2011, and I have with me one of my favorite geologists. I said every time, Robert Archer, CEO of Great Panther Resources. So Robert, I'm going to just...
Panther Silver.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say it correctly, I think. Why don't we just go over some of the mixed story in a way with your company. A little bit negative on some of the grades here recently, and then of course a new spark to the company as well. So why don't we go with like the last couple of press releases that kind of summarize where we're at currently.
Yeah, sure. Well, as you say, David, grades have been down a little bit this year, and unfortunately, that's one of the things about vein-type deposits. The grades are inconsistent, and everybody loves it when the grades are high and you get some nice high-grade pockets. But there are times when when the grade's not so good, and you just have to deal with that as best you can. So we're going through one of those phases right now, and but we have hit some very good grades in some of the underground drilling, and the underground drilling is still continuing, at depth at Guanajuato, and so we're pretty confident that we'll continue to come up with some decent grades, and that things will turn around there. But year over year, this year 2011 will probably be about the same as last year in terms of overall production. Topia is doing nicely, again about the same sort of level of production as last year, maybe slightly higher. But we've increased the plant capacity, and we're increasing the output from some of the new mines that we're bringing on stream at Topia, some of the new veins. So I do see Topia increasing through next year, and it's a good high-grade mine. So profit margins are still good there, despite some slightly higher costs right now. But those should come back down as well.
How would you evaluate the company as far as growth going forward? What kind of business model have you got for the next, say, short-term 6 months to say long-term next 3 years or so?
Well, of course, within a 6-month period, we're focusing on operations and continuing to drill out the San Ignacio, which is really the spark that you referred to right now for us. That's close to Guanajuato, as you know, it's within trucking distance. We've just released our initial resource estimate on that, about 4.5 million ounces of silver equivalent, and that's just over the first 300 meters of strike length, and we've kept drilling. We know that it continues. We just released another 14 holes that shows another 150 meters of strike on top of that, so roughly another 50%. And we're continuing to drill and add a second drill by first quarter of next year. So San Ignacio is looking really good, and as soon as we can get underground on that and start trucking that back to Guanajuato, then we can fill up some of the excess capacity at the Guanajuato plant as well. Beyond the existing operations and development, we're looking at acquisitions from just projects right through to M&A type activity, and we're starting to get a little bit more, I guess, proactive. You can say aggressive is not the right word. I mean, we're not going to go hostile on anybody, but yeah, a little bit more proactive on the M&A side of things, and so we'd certainly like to add a third mine to the company, and if we have to bring that in from outside, then we'll certainly look to do that.
Good. One that we get all the time, and I usually ask whoever I'm interviewing, which is usually at the CEO level or corporate development level or whatever, is the climate in Mexico. We hear things, whatever, but and it depends on where you are in Mexico.
So,
but
yeah.
What's your? I mean, you're there all the time. I've been there for 6 months, I guess. I've never gone down there and been, I've been aware, but I've never really felt any real problems. But nonetheless, we read the mainstream press. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, everybody hears about things, and of course, as the press loves to report the negative news, that's usually all you hear. You rarely hear about anything positive. But I mean, we're fortunate where we are. We haven't had any security issues, and certainly hope that continues. But it's one of those things in Mexico that if somebody brings you a submittal, you have to take that seriously as to its location, and for acquiring new projects. And there are some areas where there's just no point in putting your people at risk, and so it's unfortunate because there's a lot of good geology there, and but there are areas where I think until after next year's election, it's going to continue to be a little bit dicey. But once the election passes and we get a sense for what the new government's going to do, then I hope that things will start to improve. But it's still, for us, Mexico's still a great place to be, and certainly the federal government's very supportive of mining, and they're great to work with.
Good. I'm going to give a quick anecdotal story. It wasn't in Mexico, it was in South America. I won't give the country, but great geology, great project, but one of my helpers, you might say, tipped me off, and it happened to be in an area that was very near where growth, vegetation was, that was used in other means, and it doesn't matter who the property is.
Yeah.
If you're that close to a production facility, you might call it, you're taking way too big a risk.
Yeah, exactly.
And it never dawned on me really. I'm not naive, but get on the ground. That's why we really like to put somebody on the ground.
Sure.
Because you get a different flavor than just reading the report or seeing the grade or talking to geologists, and all that's worthwhile.
Yeah.
But once you get there, you can see the infrastructure. You heard it on the phone or even saw it in a video. Once you're there, you get an idea of the scale, the mountains, what the roads really are like, and everything else. It just makes a big difference, and that's why. And I'm not the only one that does that. In fact, I don't do that many mining trips anymore, but someone from the Morgan Report does. It just is really, you can't put a price on that, and of course, so does Lawrence Ralston and Jay Taylor does, and a lot of us do that, but it's really important because to me, you get a much better overall picture once you're actually on the project. Well, moving on, we really appreciate the update. Is there anything that you would like to convey for our viewers regarding silver, your company, Mexico, the Silver Summit, anything else?
Generally we're still very optimistic about the outlook. The company's in great shape. We're about $35 million in cash, so we're in a good position, for acquisitions. We're also looking at South America now as well, in addition to Mexico. And there's certainly lots of upside for the company, and we do feel that there's lots of upside left in the silver price as well. So it's sometimes difficult to maintain optimism when it gets hammered as it has in the last few months, but seems to hopefully have stabilized around this level here now, and. But better than I that silver goes through these periods of consolidation where it goes into this trading range and it just sort of bounces along sideways for a number of months, and there's really not a lot you can do about it. But I'm quite happy for it to bounce around $30.
Yeah. Sure.
It's a darn sight better than 10.
Yes.
So we're certainly not complaining at these levels.
Great.
Yeah.
I'll just add quickly that, you're, I don't know what, our 5th, 6th interview today, and it varies, CEOs, and everyone has their opinion. I have mine, and none of us know, if we're intellectually honest. Yeah. But, I've got probably more experience than anybody on the trading side and on the silver as an investment side. And not that I have your experience, but what I'm saying. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a few months.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take a while to work off. I know markets pretty well. I'm pretty good at it. Not perfect, but normally on those kind of declines, especially with gold falling like it has, it doesn't come right back up. Right. But it's okay with me. It gives everybody in the industry time to just work it off. And I think, as you said, we've got far higher prices in the future, but it doesn't necessarily mean by the end of 2011.
No, that's right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. We're going to go sideways for a while, but it's probably going to be at least first quarter of next year before we see much movement.
Robert, always a pleasure.
David, likewise. Thanks very much.
Okay.